Okay, super happy to see so many new faces, but also a lot of family faces. We've made some small changes to the agenda. We will start off, like we said from the beginning, with Karin from Nokia. Super happy to have you here. After that, we will have like a 5-minute leg stretch to change some tech, and then we connect with Daniil, CTO of Newton part of Nordic Semiconductors, who is joining live from Dubai. When he saw the weather report, he hesitated to travel, so we said it's okay to join on link. So be it to have him here, and then we finish off those 30 minutes rounds with our friends from Flox Intelligence nowadays. Thomas Bicklin, super happy to also have you here. And then to sort of show the broad picture with platforms and AI, we round off with some 10-15 minutes from our CTO and chief architect here at Sigma Connectivity Stockholm, Håkan Olgren, who will step up a bit in terms of TOPS and AI. So we actually go from firstly infrastructure, Nokia, edge AI from an infrastructure point of view, and then we jump to device. We talk about the Nordic Newton part, and we also see it live in the Flox product. And then we look a bit what's actually what's possible to do when we add more power to that part. So we sort of show the spectrum that's available now to build products and systems. So I just thought I'd take the opportunity also to give some context to us, where are we? And since a couple of weeks, we have started a transition from Sigma Connectivity WSI, which is sort of a long name, to Sigma Connectivity Stockholm, also to show that we are fully integrated now in the Sigma Connectivity family, which has been a super power for us to be part of that. We still are the same old team from WSI. We are still very familiar, small, fast, but we now are in a greater context. So from maybe 30 to 40 people like we used to be, we are now round about 700 to 750 colleagues executing the projects that you guys give us. So that's really a new superpower that's been unleashed. We also have some legacy. We're actually older than the mother. So Sigma Connectivity was the former Sony Ericsson in Lund from 2013. But everybody who knows us knows that we started this journey back in 2002. So we have some more years under us. And we're still about the same thing that we've always done. We deliver projects. But since a couple of years, we also have consultant at site. And if that's interesting, you should speak to Henrik right there in the audience. So I think I'll stop there. And without further ado, again, super happy to have you, Karin. The stage.
Thank you. Oh, okay. So I can introduce myself. My name is Karin Raj. I work as CTO Europe at Nokia, so in the CTO office since January this year. But I have a long background in the telecom industry. I joined Ericsson 96 as a trainee. I spent 14 years with this company, which was a great school, you know, for someone coming fresh from Cotiho. Then I have been 10 years with Huawei Technologies. Also super interesting, completely different culture. And I also spent a couple of years in the startup community, serving as the CTO for 2 deep tech companies, one doing sensors, heat flux sensors, so you can measure body core temperature, and you can also use the same technology for energy harvesting. which I think will be of much. It will really be of importance for the future when we are seeing the type of devices really exploding, and we will see increased amount of body sensors. I also worked in a company doing high precision micromechanics, so piezoelectrical motors. But now I'm back in telecom. So thank you so much, Håkan and Janne, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. So when thinking about what to say here today, I realized that we sometimes get so caught up in the issues within our industry that we don't pause and get another perspective. So I think we're fortunate to be part of an industry which have had a very, very large impact on the society, maybe the biggest impact on society in our lifetime. So let me start by giving you a historical perspective and sharing the vision of one of the greatest minds of our time, Nikola Tesla, father of electricity, who made great inventions, great contributions to our current today's electricity systems. So what he said was that we shall be able to communicate with one another instantly, and we should be able to see and hear one another as if we were face to face. And these devices will be very simple, and we will be able to carry them in our pockets. So at a time when they had barely electricity and running water, he had a crystal clear view and crystal clear vision of the technology that we take for granted today. So he actually predicted both the smartphone and video telephony 100 years ago. But what's around the corner? What's beyond the smartphone era? Let's continue looking a little bit in the rearview mirror, because I think having a clear picture of where we're coming from makes it easier to see where we need to go. And I think we all know that the first mobile systems, they were launched here in the Nordics in the 1980s. But I think the real kickstart for the industry was the launch of the iPhone in 2007. So it really defined the form factor and the business logic that we still have 20 years later. And I think the largest innovation was maybe the App Store, which made the iPhone into a platform and allowed developers to create value for the iPhone and for Apple and for the consumers, most of all. And I will come back to this a little later in my presentation. And then we had the 4G cycle, which was mainly driven by video services like YouTube, which offered a reasonable consumer experience for the first time. 5G built on that and also introduced private networks, enterprise automation and IoT, and perhaps also most significantly fixed wireless access. And for most of consumers, most of us, today we don't recognize the difference between being on a 5G network or being on a fiber access. And this business transformation, or in fact this societal transformation that we have embarked upon, I think it was hard to imagine just a few years ago. 6G will, of course, continue that, and it will be the key enabler for AI to scale beyond the data centers. So what I would like to discuss today are three simple points. Number one, we hear a lot about AI and 6G, but what would it actually mean in our daily lives? Number two, to deliver this experience, how do today's network need to evolve? And number three, where is value going to be created? By whom? And how will this value be distributed across the chain? How can it be monetized? So let's have a look into my crystal ball. And the crystal ball says disaggregation of the smartphone. So what is this? It refers to a trend where the smartphone is no longer the central all-in-one device for our digital communications, but it will actually be distributed into multiple specialized devices. So we actually passed peak smartphone in 2016, 2017 timeframe. This was the year the global smartphone sales hit their peak, and since then it has slowly declined. And the race to find a successor to the smartphone is deadly and serious. I mean, billions of dollars of R&D from all the usual suspects, Meta, Apple, Microsoft, etc., are being poured into finding potential technologies. And do we know exactly what the successor to the smartphone is? No, not really, but I think we have a pretty good clue. It's not the one device, it's going to be many. As a matter of fact, this disaggregation is already here, and we've entered a post-smartphone era. This audio has, for example, already left the smartphone, and it has moved directly into our ears, offering spatial audio, which in fact is a first step towards augmented reality. So now the earbuds, they are evolving from in-ear to open-ear, allowing ambient sound to be heard along with the actual content being listened to. Noise cancelling has gone one step beyond. It's no longer about suppressing ambient noise, but to protect those around us from what we are listening to, from noise leakage. And increasingly, I believe that we will see earbuds that are more and more resembling pieces of jewelry that we mix and match with the rest of our outfit. The smartphone itself is rapidly going to show up here on our arms as smartwatches. And this is really our real-time health lab and our network connectivity hub. The capability of the onboard sensors in the smartwatch, optical, temperature, accelerometers, gyroscopes, they are exponentially increasing with non-invasive measurements of health, fitness, sleep, hormone levels. So with this on my arm, there's no need to carry a separate smartphone. It is my smartphone. Finally, we will no longer be looking at the screen, but through it. My smart glasses will be able to guide me through the day. They will tell me what I'm looking at. They will show me my messages. They will help me navigate. My favorite application on this is really Find My Smartphone. But imagine if I was wearing a pair of smart glasses instead, and I could just ask my glasses to find whatever I'm missing, you know, and it would tell me. So in this transition, voice and gesture input is going to be increasingly important. So we can finally retire the QWERTY keyboard that has served us for over 150 years, actually, as the technology to deliver a satisfactory consumer experience is here. And that technology is artificial intelligence. So AI will inevitably transform the way that networks will be built accordingly. The technology doesn't stand still, of course. It doesn't end with smart glasses. Here you can see of the future wearable technology, which will be integrated into our human bodies in the 60 time frame. We will see things like electronic tattoos, capable of collecting and transmitting, example, biometric data. And if you think it's futuristic with the glasses, just wait and see. There will be connected contact lenses around the corner. So the question inevitably arises, how will these devices be powered? How will the batteries fit? Well, we are going to be the batteries. The human body generates approximately 100 watts of heat while resting. And if we could harvest only a fraction of that, we could easily power a large number of wearables or even a smartphone. The framework of Nokia's tech vision, that's how we look into the world in 10 years time frame. Are the three concepts of the human world that represent our values, perception, emotions, logics, intentions, culture, aspirations, and the physical world, which is made up by all the tangible objects around us, both natural and fabricated. And finally, the digital world. This is where reality is translated into zeros and ones. And the digital world is itself a product of technology. So what Nokia believes is that there will be a much tighter integration between the digital, physical, and the human worlds. And artificial intelligence is the strong force. It's the enabling glue for this to happen. It's supported by massive scale deployment of sensors and digital twin models that allow us to analyze what's happening in the physical world, simulate possible outcomes, anticipate needs, and then take productive actions back into the physical world. So what does this tighter integration mean from a human point of view? So number one, we will see much improved ways of interacting with the digital world. We used to do this using commandos and programs, which requires knowledge. Now in the 60 time frame, we will be able to explain our intents using our natural language. So one example, you will tell your personal AI assistant to change the indoor temperature to 24 degrees Celsius. No need to manually adjust the controls on the combined solar and geothermal heating system. Number two, we will see much better ways of interacting with the physical world through digital means. So the picture to the right is a completely realistic situation in the 60 time frame. You're walking down the street, you can see all the restaurants, the ratings, and you can easily make a reservation. So for AR glasses to overlay virtual objects onto the physical world, or spatial audio that appears to come from specific locations around the user, there is a need for spatial computing. It makes the world clickable for human interactions. It enables the glasses to understand, interpret, and interact with the physical world in 3 dimensions in real time. So hands-free, screenless interaction with the physical world through the digital will be the norm in the 6G era. Next, bandwidth-intensive applications requiring all of 6G's power will be volumetric video and holographic communication. People and objects can be presented with almost lifelike accuracy. This means that we're done with teams, and instead we will be able to interact with each other or our colleagues working in other places in the world as if we were located in the same room. Let's spend some time on the technology building blocks that will deliver these new experiences. So where there is 6G, there will be artificial intelligence. AI will play a totally transformative role in the mobile industry across various domains, including networks, applications, and services. So AI for customer care centers, self-care, no touch. It's a way for CSPs to reduce their OpEx. I will instruct my personal AI agent to contact the telco's customer care, which will also be an AI agent. AI for infrastructure, to squeeze out as much efficiency as possible of the infrastructure while keeping energy consumption at the lowest possible levels and protecting the network and its users from malicious attacks. AI for innovation, AI for innovation, so scenario planning, product sandboxing, and deployment testing using digital twins, mirroring the real network state and behaviors in a virtual environment. AI for ecosystems, intent-based exposure rather than giving detailed XML instructions, like telling the AI agent to implement the new feature in selected parts of the networks or across selected subscriber groups. So where exactly in the network will the artificial intelligence reside? Well, AI will migrate from the specialized hyperscaler data centers where it currently lives. That's where the large amounts of data resides. That's where we train the LLMs. Instead, AI will diffuse all the way down to the devices in our pockets and on our wrists. This means that the large language models, they will evolve into very small language models capable of fitting into small wearable devices where they will execute domain-specific tasks. So one example, Apple has brought real-time translation to the AirPods 3, and the translation is taking place in the smartphone, where the AirPods is acting, they are acting just like a relay. But in the future, perhaps the translation could actually take place in the earbuds themselves. To support this development, the hardware platforms where AI processing take place will also evolve to become physically smaller, lighter to fit in the confined spaces, and more energy efficient too. So remember, frequent charging of all new domain-specific devices resulting from the disaggregation will easily become an issue. In data centers, we will have the CPUs and the GPUs, the graphic processing units. They will be replaced by NPUs, neural processing units, tailored for AI processing in the smaller devices. And it's in the light of this that Nokia just entered a partnership with NVIDIA not long time ago, where NVIDIA's Arc Pro GPUs is now being integrated into Nokia's radio or baseband hardware platforms, both using our AirScale in-house hardware and also COT servers, and it's also very nicely wrapped by the Nokia AnyRAN software solution. So that's to give you a little bit of perspectives. And this is intended for processing at the edge then. Primarily for doing baseband processing, but there is of course a super interesting opportunity to do other type of processing at the edge using this solution. So Moore's law has served us faithfully from the beginning of the semiconductor revolution until the mid-2000s, where we saw diminishing returns. With the new NPU architecture, we're back on the road to exponential growth when it comes to compute power and efficiency gains, performance per watt and performance per dollar. This is an absolute necessity for AI to function at the edge of the network and in the low-cost devices. Similar to Bluetooth, which demonstrated the power of keeping things simple and the magic of economies of scale, Nokia is driving the development of a single 6G technology stack, which will make it possible even for small developers with very limited resources to build sophisticated low-cost devices. And this approach aims to streamline the 6G landscape by reducing the number of chipsets to just 3 that builds on one another to maximize scale and return on investment. This means that the chipset used in low-end IoT devices could be derived from the same technology used in high-end smartphones. The net result, this Nokia approach, will catalyze the wave of 6G devices and innovations that chipset vendors couldn't support in the 4G, 5G era. So it has the potential to be the next big leap in mobile technology. So the house of 6G rests on 6 pillars, each one equally essential for us to be able to realize our vision of 6G. So we learned that AI will permeate the very fabric of 6G and impact every aspect from the core network all the way out to the edge of the access network, and that devices and accessories will be the AI endpoints. We talked about energy efficiency from the device perspective, driving the transition to neural processing units. And we also touched on an aspect of modular design in the form of a single technology stack, as suggested by Nokia. What about the other 3? 6G will aim to unify different types of connections, like terrestrial networks and non-terrestrial networks, so that all devices can connect through a common area interface. There will be a need for updated security mechanism, leveraging quantum techniques. And in order to meet the 6G service demands, there will be new spectrum bands. I guess you've all heard about the upper 6G band. But time is short, and I will instead focus on the third topic, how value can be created in this new 6G future. The single challenge we can all relate to is that of product and service differentiation. Bandwidth from one mobile operator behaves and costs very similar to bandwidth from another mobile operator. The bulk of customer propositions on the market today are some kind of data bundle, voice and SMS, which were earlier the mainstay of the industry, are now free and unlimited. In some cases, mobile operators, they also earn revenue from reselling other services like Netflix, HBO, Spotify, and so on. And hardware sales devices form a significant part of the operator revenues. And the state of affairs is depicted in this slide. I looked through a number of mobile operators, their landing pages on the same day. And as you all can see, on that very day, they seem to have a very good relation to Samsung. And if I would have done it another week, maybe it would have been the iPhone instead being promoted. So I'd like to give you perspective of how we can actually get back into the game, get back onto the road to growth and profitability. Our expensive and redundant and highly reliable infrastructure that has been created by the telecom industry over decades of massive investments has been trapped and unable to participate in the huge value being created on top of it. You know all the names: Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, all the hyperscalers. So in the last couple of decades, the industry, no, the entire society has seen a tsunami of digitalization. Trillions of dollars of value has been created, as you can see in the top of this picture. Companies we didn't know names of a couple of years ago are the world's leading brands today. Just to give you one example, Uber has revolutionized the transportation industry by capitalizing on the hyperscalers platforms. This wave of digitalization is now transitioning into the AI era, offering us the best chance that we've had to reclaim the telecom operators' place in the value creation network. So our industry is sitting on the most important asset. We provide the connectivity between the data centers, between the enterprises, between the individuals. We are the nervous system of society. So we need to finally break out from the trap and learn. We need to learn how to build value networks. We need to learn how to build platforms. We need to learn how to attract developers. We need to harmonize our network and cloud capabilities. How about building own app stores for enterprises where you can buy, configure, or subscribe to services and products critical for the enterprise? A bundle of connectivity and AI enterprise services on a single invoice. Let's dive a little further into monetization strategies in the 6G context. Let's start with what we believe will happen in the consumer segment. We can expect to see services like holographic communications, immersive media streaming, and personal AI companions. The engine of 6G will be enterprise services. This is where the largest monetization opportunities will present themselves. Here we can expect to see 6G private networks, extreme network slicing, network cloud and AI bundles, security as a service, LLM model training as a service. And the real monetization shift comes from operators acting like platform orchestrators and embedding the services in products and services created by other enterprises. One example could be a TV screen, a smartwatch, or maybe even your washing machine that comes with 6G connectivity included. This would unlock new business models like pay-per-view, pay-per-wash, etc. Again, the new iPhone launch, it comes with eSIM only. And to me, this is the very starting point for embedding connectivity in all kinds of devices that hasn't had been equipped with a physical SIM card traditionally. All this will require operators to develop new skill sets and the ability to create platforms which attract developers. This is key. So I'll wind up and give you a short summary of what I've spoken about. So number one, 6G and AI will drive deep behavioral changes in both our society, but also in us as individuals. There will be no aspect of our lives that will be not touched by these two technologies. We passed peak smartphone, and we've already started to see the disaggregation of the smartphone into several smaller devices like earbuds, watches, and glasses. Today's large language models will evolve into small and very small language models, which can fit into these small AI devices, making them AI native. The key characteristics of tomorrow's 6G networks will be an order of magnitude higher capacity than today's networks. This capacity is essential to be able to accommodate our vision of what 6G will deliver to us. Standardization and simplification will be the leading themes when developing 6G technology, along with energy efficiency. These factors are critical to unlock efficiencies and scale to drive down cost. And creating values will require the operators to step out of their comfort zones and create platforms and value networks to attract both developers and consumers. Let's go back to where we started and wind up with another Tesla quote. When wireless is perfectly applied, the whole Earth will be converted into a huge brain, which in fact it is. So in other words, 6G and AI together are the very definition of Tesla's vision. Thank you.